Did you ever, because a lot of people don't like the appearance of bodybuilders, they think it's kind of grotesque. Did you, was that hard for you to deal with people saying to you, you look hard, you're too big, you're too...
No. As a matter of fact, I was always a bit of a rebel throughout my life, and the thought that I would be different from other people never bothered me, and when I heard that it bothered other people, it even gave me more impetus to continue training.
That's a good philosophy. I'm sure a lot of their negative comments come from jealousy, because
I think so too.
The dedication that requires to look, you know, like
Yeah.
when you're competing is just tremendous.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I've talked to many people in the past who claimed initially they didn't like the look of a bodybuilder. Then I would bring them to a physique contest and show them the magazine. Over a period of time, their standards changed. They didn't feel as threatened.
We've got a picture of Mike on the monitor here also.
Look at that picture.
Excuse me, Mike.
That was taken a few years ago, I must say.
But you can see the dedication that would take to look like that. I mean, that's hours and hours and hours of training there.
How many years was that to get to that point?
Well, that was 11 years ago, a photograph taken right before the 1980 Mr. Olympia contest, and I had been training at that point for about 15 years, off and on, but for about 7 years straight through right before that.
That's incredible.
But an important point, Anthony, I did not train for hours and hours every day, and this is an important issue.
Oh, okay.
Contrary to what most bodybuilders do, which is train 2 to 4 hours a day, 7 days a week, to obtain that condition, I trained literally for 30 minutes 4 times a week, 2 hours a week.
How did you first hit upon the discovery of prolonged recovery periods and breaking out of viewing training within the 7-day confines of the Gregorian calendar?
Well, it was back in 79 or 80. My brother and I were training together for contests, and we were training extremely intensely using heavy weights. We trained to failure with negatives and fourth reps. And I remember on a Tuesday morning after a very heavy Monday workout, Ray and I met in the gym as usual. And we're still hell bent on making maximum progress. I was thinking about the workouts and analyzing them, and analyzing their effects on my body day to day. And I said to my brother, Ray, how do you feel today? And he like me, was exhausted, still having not fully recovered from the Monday workout. And I said, I reasoned if we haven't, or I said, Ray, if we haven't even recovered from our workout yesterday, we're not going to be able to invest it with our workout today with the intensity that is required to stimulate maximum muscle growth. And if we did, in fact, stimulate growth on Monday, which we probably did, we're not going to grow anyway because, again, recovery has to come first. Recovery and growth are both distinct physiological processes, both requiring time to fulfill or complete. And again, if we haven't recovered, we haven't completed the recovery process, we're not going to produce any growth that we had stimulated. Growth stimulation and growth production are two distinct physiological processes too. You have to stimulate growth in the gym and then allow growth to produce itself or manifest itself. For again, growth stimulation and growth reduction are two distinct processes, and the growth reduction has to be preceded by the recovery process. So what happens if you train again before you recover, you short-circuit the growth process. And I explained this to Ray. He agreed that he wasn't going to recover, and it was ridiculous to try to train again, let alone, be concerned about growth. We would have been spinning our wheels in effect, so we decided to take another day off, and that helped a lot. We recovered, and we found sometimes we even needed 2 days in between workouts. So we started doing a 4-day out of every 9 or 10-day split, not allowing tradition and convenience and compulsion at some point to supersede logic and reason.
That's good. And also, you made probably the best progress of your life when you did that.
Yes, we did make that. We had in a plateau there for a while. Our gains had slowed down, as is often the case with advanced bodybuilders. Once we got that program, our gains skyrocketed again, even for advanced bodybuilders. At one point there, I had gained 10 pounds of muscle in 3 weeks.
Jeez.
And lost 4 pounds of fat at the same time.
So 14-pound lean mass gain.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, because the theory that you always hear is that it does require hours and hours to look
Well,
like that.
the mistaken premise there is that more is better.
Uh-huh.
And the body doesn't necessarily work that way. If 2 hours or 4 hours a day were good, well, why not train 12 hours a day? Training is a form of stress, and up to a certain point in time, exposing the body to stress can be beneficial. But beyond a definite period in time, it can actually be detrimental.
That's interesting.
Let me ask you, amongst the top contenders in the world or competitors, would everybody be training differently? Do you think, or do people know that less is actually better for them?
No, they don't. The vast majority of people who train it almost exactly the same way, for 2 to 4 hours a day, 6 to 7 days a week. There are those who have read my articles and have attended my seminars and tend to be reasonable individuals and train just for 30 to 45 minutes a day, 4 times a week.